Hey guys, this is Justin at the Survival Review, and the last review I did was for Rob Zombie's Halloween, which I kind of sort of hate. And today I get to talk about its sequel, Halloween 2, which I also kind of sort of hate. Now this is a movie that is both better and worse than the first one, so this is going to be interesting. Let's just delve right into it. So I'll start out with the positives I have. So, like the first movie, I have a few positives, so I'm going to get those out of the way. First off, the movie looks great. It's visually stunning, I would say. If any of you have seen his Rob Zombie's later movie, The Lords of Salem, you could tell that this was just him gearing up for Lords of Salem, because the visual style is awesome. It looks really great, much more visually appealing than the first one, or than any other zombie movies until Lords of Salem, and it looks nice. There's a lot of really well-shot scenes. There's a lot of great imagery in the film. A lot of weird, surreal moments that look really cool and look visually awesome. So I like the visual style of the film. And there's two scenes I like in the movie. The first one is this chase scene that happens right at the beginning of the film, where Laurie is being chased by Michael through the hospital. And it's a really cool scene. It was actually pretty suspenseful. It was really well shot. And it actually felt like Halloween, which is pretty weird. Michael Myers actually acted like Michael Myers in that scene compared to the way he does in the whole movie, which is a whole nother thing. But it was a cool scene. I like the use of the song Nights in White Satin during the beginning and ending of it. And it was a fun sequence. It sucks that it's only a friggin' dream sequence, which makes it feel really pointless, but it was more entertaining than anything in the whole film. Sucks that it was only at the beginning, but whatever. And the other scene I liked was a scene that actually kind of gave me chills when I was watching it. The character of Annie, who survived the last film, well, her death scene in this movie. Her dad is the sheriff, and as soon as the sheriff walks in and finds her dead body and just has this breakdown, and that scene is very well done. The sheriff, played by Brad Dourif, who I mentioned in the last review, didn't do shit in the first movie, actually does stuff in this one, which is nice. And his acting just really helps sell the scene, because the scene basically plays out with him finding the body and just slowly realizing that she's dead, and it's heartbreaking. And then when he starts screaming and just cuts to silent, all the audio cuts out, and then it cuts to old home movies of the character of Annie, which is, they use actual home movies of the actress. And it's home movies of her playing with the dog when she was a little kid, and that just intercut between him breaking down. And it's kind of heartbreaking and kind of chilling, honestly. I thought it was a very well done scene. What mostly sold me on it is, I think, the performance of Brad Dourif, because he really sold it. And that was actually a great little scene. I like what he tried to do with Laurie Strode in this movie. It wasn't successful, I'll get onto that. But I like what he tried to do. Basically explore what happens after you're in a very traumatic situation. And that's interesting. What she goes through in this movie is kind of what I assumed Jamie Lee Curtis her character went through after Halloween 2 and before H2O. I could honestly see Jamie Lee Curtis's Laurie going through something similar to this in between movies. Because it makes sense. So that was cool. And let's see, the visual style. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, that's about it. I can't really think of anything else positive about this movie. So let's start with the negatives. The negatives. So there's two things in this movie that I hate. I friggin' hate so much. First one being, I'll start out by saying the opening shot of this movie already is a big fuck you, because it starts out with this textbook explanation of the phrase white horse, which is basically just something I don't remember what it was, but something that people see when they're really angry or something like that. Because Rob Zombie is so obsessed with explaining every tiny detail of Michael Myers. He already took away the mystery of him in the first film, with him having a broken family and all that crap. But now he took it a step further in this film, showing what Michael sees and what motivates him. And what motivates him is a vision of his dead mom and a white horse. Yeah, that's right. His dead mom and a friggin' white horse. It is the most retarded thing in the world. There's literally a shot of this movie that has Michael Myers walking towards his mom, who's in this white dress, long white hair, standing next to a white horse. It's literally the most stupid image in a Halloween movie. And that's saying much, because there's been some really stupid shit in the earlier Halloween films. And I hate that image, and it's so stupid. Like, it demystifies Michael even more. The fact that his motivation is his dead mom. Why does he see visions of his dead mom? Okay, in the first film, yeah, he had a good relationship with his mom. Like, she was the only one that was nice to him. But there was never that, like, huge, like, love between them that made you think that, oh yeah, he sees visions of her. It's so freaking stupid. It's just an excuse to get Sherry Moon Zombie in the movie because she was killed off in the last one. That's the only reason why. I'm pretty sure if Michael's mom wasn't played by Sherry Moon Zombie in the first film, that whole White Horse aspect would not have been in the film. And not only that, it's, again, the most cliched thing in the world. How many psycho killers have mommy issues? Friggin' Jason Voorhees has that problem. Okay, not Michael Myers. It's retarded. I just can't stand it. Not only that, it makes Michael seem so stupid. Like, there's moments in the movie where he's just standing there and his vision of his mom just goes like, alright, go out, have fun. So when he takes orders from his dead mom in his head, like, what? It's retarded. Shit. Alright. And then the next aspect that I hate so much. So, in the last review, I mentioned how I actually liked Malcolm McDowell as Dr. Loomis. I thought he did a good job with what he had. The material wasn't really good for him, but he was good. I enjoyed him as the character, and I thought, yay, you know, somebody replaced Donald Pleasance, and it worked. Well, I absolutely hate Malcolm McDowell in this movie. Thank you, Rob Zombie, for making me hate Malcolm McDowell. How could you... Oh. So, Dr. Loomis in this movie is the exact opposite of his character in the first film. In this movie, he's an egotistical dickhead who I just hate, and he's an asshole to everybody in this movie. Not only that, his character has no relevance to the plot up until the final scene of the movie, or the climax of the film. He has no relevance. He doesn't interact with any of the main characters until the ending of the movie. Every scene of him in the first half of this film, it's just him going around to like book signings and being an asshole to everybody he sees. That's all it is. He has no reason to be in this movie. And then Rob Zombie tries to throw in, again, Rob Zombie with his terrible attempt at subtlety, tries to give Loomis an arc in this movie. There's supposed to be a scene where he realizes that, oh, what he's doing is bad, and then he goes at the end of the movie to like try to stop Michael, and he ends up helping out the cops because Michael Myers is in this shack and all the cops are surrounded it, and they can't get a clear shot, and Loomis goes in and Michael kills him and ends up giving the cops a clear shot. Get it? He kind of redeemed himself. But you can't do that when his arc is like one scene. And he's like, oh, I realize I've been a dick lately. I'm going to be a good guy. It happens in one scene. That's friggin' it. I hate Loomis. This is, oh my god. It's such a fuck you to the character, not only to the character in the original series, but even to the character in the first movie, in the remake. Because he is so off of what his character is in the remake. See, in this movie, the surviving characters are much different than the first film. And for the most part, it makes sense. Laurie Strode is traumatized, she's angry like the whole movie, and stuff like that. And it makes sense because that's what happens after you go through that event. The character of Annie, who was just a sweaty, partying character in the first film, is now more serious and takes things seriously and stuff like that. And it makes sense because a lot of crap happened to her in the last movie. She almost died in the last movie. Makes sense. Loomis's transition makes no sense. So wait, so you're a psychiatrist, and your patient who you worked with for 15 years ends up breaking out, I guess, and ends up killing some people, and I guess it doesn't work out the way it should be, so that makes you become an egotistical douchebag who writes a book based off of those events, and goes around promoting it like a dickhead. Like, I just don't get it. There's a scene in this movie when he's going to like a book signing, and there's in the promo picture they have of him, is a picture of him from like the first Halloween with the trench coat and everything. And Loomis is all like, that's not me, that's the old Loomis, this is the new Loomis. And I'm like, no, that's Dr. Loomis. I don't know who you are, you egotistical prick. Shit. I hate Loomis so much. It's like, Loomis in the original movies was such an important character. He's basically the most important character next to Michael Myers in the original films. He really is. He appears in 5 of the movies, and the whole series is following him trying to stop Michael Myers. He's just as important as Michael is in the series. And in this movie, they just throw it all out the window and make him utterly pointless to the whole thing. I hate that. Whew. So that's Dr. Loomis. Next, Michael Myers, I don't know what he's doing this whole movie. He literally just wanders around killing people this whole movie. Okay, I get it. He's going to Haddonfield to get Laurie Strode. But he doesn't get to Laurie Strode till the ending of the film, and the whole middle of the movie, he's just walking around killing random people. That's really it. There's literally a scene where you see these people at a strip club, and he walks into the strip club, kills them, walks out, and that's the end of the scene. It's so much of it is just there just to have a big body count, to up the original and the body count, that it just makes no sense. There's seriously only like maybe 3 or 4 death scenes that actually matter to the plot of this movie. And I know there's like over 10 death scenes in this movie. There's only like a few that matter to the actual plot of the film. It's like, seriously, it's ridiculous. There's a scene in this movie that, again, is actually really well shot and well lit, but is so stupid. There's a scene where Michael is just walking around he's just walking around, and these rednecks just like drive up to him and just decide to beat up on him for no reason. Then Michael kills him. That's the scene. I don't get what the friggin' point of it was. And then, why does Rob Zombie want to explain every single thing? He wants, like, there's scenes, like, after he kills those people, those rednecks, he sees the dog, and he sees a dog they have in the back of the truck, and he kills the dog and he eats it. And you're trying to explain what Michael does, like how Michael eats and stays alive. You don't need to show that. It was perfectly implied in the original film that he ate a dog and that's how he got around. That's all you needed. You don't need to see Michael Myers literally eating pieces of the dog. He just did that scene just to shock you, just for shock value, because it's really grisly and gross. There was no real reason. He just wanted to shock you and to give a crappy-ass explanation for what Michael Myers does on his off days and shit like that, and it's stupid. Not only that brings us to Hobo Michael Myers. Michael Myers literally spends like the whole middle half of this film without his mask on. Just wandering around with this big like coat and the hood over his head, this huge beard and long hair. How is that image Michael Myers? And why do we need to see Michael Myers just wandering around? There's literally scenes like that. Like, you have a plot scene with Laurie Strode doing stuff, and then you cut to just a scene of Michael wandering in the woods, like walking around. And then next scene. I'm not interested in seeing what Michael does on his off days, honestly. That's never what interested me in the original films, was seeing how Michael got to the places. It's stupid. It's retarded. It's not Michael Myers. Not only that, you know how the original Halloween movies were built on this thing called suspense? You know that thing? Yeah, there's none of that in this movie. And I don't mean like he tries to, but it's unsuccessful. He doesn't even try. Michael Myers in this movie is so far off from what Michael Myers is in the original film. He doesn't stalk anybody in this movie. Well, maybe once he kind of does. But still, he doesn't stalk. All he does is he just like pops up, brutally kills the person, and walks away. There's no build-up. He's not methodical. He's not subtle. I keep bringing up the word subtle, because Rob Zombie doesn't know what the word subtle is. But there's none of that in this movie. He just like pops up, kills people, and that like, he grunts a lot in this movie, and I understood Michael Myers grunted in the original film, but it's so over the top. It's like, "Arr! Arr!" Like he's out of breath after like 2 stabs. It's like, it's stupid. So stupid. But like, this movie takes away, the original, when it got to the remake portion, not the original shit, sorry, the remake. When it got to the actual remake portion, Michael Myers was at least acting like Michael Myers. You know, like he should. This one, he doesn't. He doesn't at all. He just... And again, like I said in the first review, his motivations still aren't clear. Is he trying to kill Laurie Strode, or is he just wants to bring the family back together? I don't get it. In the first movie, he has the perfect opportunity to kill her, but he just knocks her out, takes her to the childhood home, and tries to show him the picture of them as a kid. So funnily bad. Anyway, he does that, and then in the second one, he has another opportunity to kill her, and again, he doesn't kill her. So he's just trying to reunite the family? I don't know. See, Rob Zombie either over-explains things, or doesn't at all. It's so annoying, and the characters in this film, that's something I didn't bring up. I'll give them this, they're not assholes like the first film. I feel like every character in the first film was an asshole. In this one, they're not. Most of them are not. But they're still the most bland, stupid, white trash characters you can never find in a movie. There's a few characters that are really stupid. Oh my god. So, the guy's driving the ambulance in the beginning of the movie. It's like the beginning of the movie, like the opening scene of the film, second opening, you know. and they're driving in the car, and the one redneck dude is talking about having sex with corpses. I'm like, great dialogue, Rob Zombie. Thank you. That's what I want to hear in my Halloween movie. And there's still, and again, the really stupid asshole rednecks who beat up on Michael for no reason. And again, what was up with that scene? Now, I could be wrong here, but it really that scene made me feel like Rob Zombie was trying to get us to sympathize with Michael Myers in that scene. You know, kind of like he was trying to get us to do the whole first movie. Why do we have to sympathize with Michael Myers? He's a murdering psychopath who just goes around killing people. Why do we have to sympathize with him? He's Michael friggin' Myers. There's really that scene, like he's just walking in the woods, like minding his own business, and these rednecks walk up to him and start whacking him. And it almost makes you want to feel bad for him, but it's like, I don't want to feel bad for this guy. Because he's a killer. He's not... Anyway, also the language in this film. I don't complain about language in movies often, I don't care. But it's usually when there's good dialogue to go with it, and then it's perfectly fine. Like, why do you think nobody complains about language in a Quentin Tarantino movie? Or a Kevin Smith movie? Or a Coen Brothers movie? But everybody complains about language in a Rob Zombie movie. Because there's no good dialogue, it's just there for language's sake. Like, wait, The Big Lebowski has at least like 100 more F-words than Halloween 2. But I'm far less distracted in Big Lebowski than I am in Halloween 2. There's literally a scene where Laurie Strode's all angry, and she's literally, the dialogue is literally just like, don't fucking talk to me, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, you fucking bitch, can't take this shit, fuck this, and walks away. And I'm like, oh, great dialogue, you 10-year-old. Like, seriously, who talks like that? It sounds like a friggin' high school student. So retarded. I hate it, it's distracting. It's distracting from the movie when there's a bunch of unnecessary language and there's no good dialogue to really go behind it. It's just people swearing. Or the one guy in the ambulance, the ambulance crashes into like a cow on the road. It's just so stupid. But anyway, the ambulance crashes into the cow and the guy there is injured, and his whole dialogue for like 20 seconds is him just going, fuck, 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 fuck. Thanks, Rob Zombie. Thank you. Ugh, so these characters in the movie suck. Laurie Strode has these two friends. Who're supposed to be like the new, because like, you know, she had the two friends in the first movie. It's kind of like the new version, I guess, of that, whatever. He has these two friends, and they're the most bland, I don't even know their names while watching the movie. At the end of the movie, when they start dying, like, oh, that chick died. That one too. Like, I don't like them. They appear at the beginning of the movie, kind of come in near the end. And they're so bland, and I'm like, there's no characters I like in this movie. Laurie Strode, like I mentioned earlier, I liked the idea he was going with, but making her traumatized, stuff like that. But he never developed it. He never did anything with it, and it made her character really annoying. And I know some people are saying, well, I was reading some people who are like, well, she's not annoying, she's traumatized. I get that, but it doesn't help that all she does is yell and complain, and it's just stupid the whole time. Like, it's kind of hard to explain, but like, there's a scene in the middle of the movie where she finds out that she's Michael Myers' sister. Which again, I'm the only one that thinks it would have been a smarter idea to tell her that right away and not have her like find out on accident. Like, it makes perfect sense. After all the events, after the whole events of the first movie, they'd be like, oh, by the way, that guy was going after you because he's secretly your brother. I mean, yeah, it'd be weird, but it would make sense. It just seemed really stupid for them to not tell her that at all. Then anyway, so she finds this out, right? And then she just goes like, oh, I can't take this, I want to go party. And the whole last half of the movie is just her partying. And I'm like, I don't care, what? You're not exploring what happens to her after she's traumatized. You're just barely scratching the surface. And it kind of came off as annoying, and I hated her character in this movie. I hated her. I hated her in the first movie, I hated her in this movie. I guess it works out. Then, character of Annie doesn't do anything in the movie. I don't think she ever leaves the house. I could be wrong, but I don't think there's ever a scene of her outside her house. So her character is bland. The only character that's kind of decent is the sheriff, because he's played by Brad Dourif and he actually gets something to do. There you go. Also, this movie doesn't have the Halloween theme in it. Or any music from Halloween. The theatrical cut, I watched the director's cut for this review. I'll get to the ending in a little bit. But the theatrical cut ended with the Halloween theme, playing over the credits, at least. The director's cut doesn't. So there's no Halloween music throughout the movie at all. Which I thought was really funny when the end credits, when they still left the credit in, they said, Halloween theme by John Carpenter. I'm like, oh yeah, that theme that's not in the friggin' movie. It's like, I was reading an interview where Rob Zombie said, we kept trying to put the theme in the movie, but it just never fit, so we just didn't use it. And I'm like, okay, at least you didn't try to shoehorn in the theme. Then I'm like, wait a second. Did I get this straight? You said the Halloween theme didn't fit in a Halloween movie. Then what movie are you making? This is the most un-Halloween film out of every one in feel, in everything. And you can do a Halloween movie with a different kind of tone and make it work. But this one is so un-Halloween, and that's what I feel makes it worse than the remake. Is the remake at least had Halloween moments. This one doesn't feel at all like Halloween. Doesn't help that there's no friggin' Halloween music in it. Not just the theme, like there's other like music from the film. None of that's in there. And it's so annoying. It's like you can do a movie with a different kind of tone, but still have it be like a Halloween movie, be part of that series. And a good example of this actually is Aliens. Now I know that's a sequel, not a remake, but whatever. The original Alien is this slow-paced horror movie set in space. It's basically a slasher movie in space, where instead of horny teenagers being picked off by a killer, it's these workers getting picked off by an alien. But it's a slow burn movie. It takes its time. It's intense, creepy, great movie. Aliens is basically a war movie. It's big, it's loud, it's bombastic, it's a great film. But it's this big movie, has a lot of action beats, it's intense, fast-paced, but they still kept some of the suspense elements, and the movie still felt like Alien. It still felt like a part of the Alien series, and it felt perfectly connected to the first film, while being this totally different movie. And you could do that, so it's possible if you did a Halloween movie, did it a bit more surreal, stylized, but still kept the ideas of the original. This one doesn't. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 just doesn't do any of that. Yeah. It's like, why even make a Halloween movie if you're going to be so different? I just don't get the point of it. I really feel that Rob Zombie just didn't want to make this movie, but just got offered enough money to do it that he did. Because I remember before this movie came out, in every interview he was like, oh yeah, I'm not doing a sequel, I'm only doing one. And then all of a sudden he did a sequel. I'm pretty sure they just offered him a good amount of money, and he just went, fuck it, I'm going to do whatever I want, I don't care anymore. And I think that's what he did. Because this movie is just so out there, and just so just not Halloween, that it's annoying and insulting as a fan of the film. So, let's get to the ending. There's two different endings in the theatrical cut and director's cut. You want to know which one I like better? Neither. They both suck. So, I won't prefer either one. Both of them have better elements than each other. And like, seriously, they both have better elements than the other one. So, I don't like either of them. Except the director's cut has one moment that I hate. Basically, at the end, Loomis goes into the shed. Michael starts like fighting him and crap, and then literally Michael Myers is holding Dr. Loomis. He rips off his mask, revealing his face in perfect bright lighting. Because early on in the movie, his face was kind of hidden in shadow a little bit, but it's revealing his face in perfect light, all its glory. And Michael, literally, while holding Loomis, just yells, "Die!" and stabs him. Michael talks. That is bullshit. Okay? Michael Myers should never talk. Now, he talked as a kid in the remake, and I was okay with that, just because, like, I don't know, it made sense to me. But it was stupid. And plus, not only that, okay, so Michael Myers didn't talk for 15 years. Well, this movie takes place 2 years after the first one, so 17 years. So he didn't talk for 17 years. And the first thing he decides to say is just yell "die" as he's stabbing Loomis. It's the stupidest thing for him to say. I just don't get why he would say that. He had no reason to yell "die" at the end. Like, I just don't get it, and it's stupid. Michael Myers should never talk when he's an adult. No, Michael Myers is fine. I never had a problem with that. He should never talk when he's an adult. Okay? Just saying. And then not only that, the ending makes no sense, the climax. So, like, Laurie starts seeing visions of Michael's mom, or her mom, I guess. Her mom, and stuff like that. That makes no sense. She's never seen her mom before. So what, does that just run in the family? Just seeing visions of your dead mom? It made no sense. And I just don't get how she saw that. I just don't, it's stupid. It's just stupid. And so the climax sucked. It was well shot though. I liked it visually. The use of them in like the dark shack, and you see like all the police lights. That's pretty much what's lighting the scene. Like there's a helicopter. There's a cool shot where Michael with a mask on, because there's only good shots of him with the mask on. And he's like looking up, and the police helicopter light shines in on him, and you see like lights up his face. That was a cool shot. So it was a good setting for a climax. I liked the setting. It was interesting, but the scene itself was just retarded. So it didn't really help it at all. God, I don't know. My opinion on this movie is just the fact that, I mean, as you've been watching for the past 20 minutes, the movie is shit. It clearly is. But as a film on its own, it's a better film than the first in the fact that it knows where it's going a bit more. It's not as muddled as the first film. But as a Halloween film, it's a disaster. It's not Halloween. It's basically a slasher villain if he was done realistically. Which would have been interesting if he wasn't called Michael Myers. And if it wasn't called Halloween, then Rob Zombie, I mean, the movie still would have been crap. If this movie wasn't called Halloween, but was like the same film, if you know what I mean, it would still suck. But it would piss me off a lot less because it's a different take on the slasher genre by having this character be a bit more realistic. But when you're calling it Michael Myers and you just rip apart everything that makes the character Michael Myers, then it just becomes stupid and pointless and annoying. Like, Michael Myers is purely and simply evil, like Loomis said in the first film. He's basically an adult, a person, and every person, no scars, no deformities or anything, who goes around killing people, but for some unexplained, creepy reason, he can get shot and live, or he doesn't get hurt easily. It's an interesting concept. But in the remake, he's just this big, brooding guy who has family issues, who sees visions of his dead mom, who just goes around bluntly killing people with no build-up or reason. How is that Michael Myers? That is not Michael. And he talks at the end, because who gives a fuck, right? So, out of 10, 2.5. Again, I'm being generous because I like the visual style, and that was cool, and there were some really well done scenes. I mean, if a scene can give me chills, I have to kind of give it credit for that. If a scene can actually affect me that way. And that opening chase scene, that kind of had a Halloween vibe to it, that showed that Rob Zombie could have probably put together a decent Halloween movie. So I like that. So I can't give it like a total crap score. I mean, 2.5 is still crap, but I can't give it a total crap score. It's just, God, it's an interesting film on its own. Like, I feel if you don't like Halloween or give a crap about Michael Myers, you might find this enjoyable since it's so out there and so different and so like weird and strange. And not only that, the beginning, the middle half is really boring. I forgot to mention that too. I found the middle half boring. But anyway, it's an interesting film on its own. As a Halloween film, it's what? What is it? It's exactly that's what you have to say after watching this movie. Oh, that became a bit more heated than I expected. So that's my take on Rob Zombie's Halloween movies. 2 steaming piles of shit. That, yeah, I don't recommend if you're a Halloween fan. I mean, again, you could go worse. Halloween Resurrection is still worse than these 2 movies, I will say that. If I had to pick between Halloween Resurrection and these 2 films, I would take these 2 any day. But they're just they're Rob Zombie's vision of Michael Myers. And his vision of Michael Myers is not Michael Myers. So that's how you explain it. Basically, it's a guy's vision of Michael Myers who doesn't know what Michael Myers is and what makes Michael Myers an interesting character and what makes this series interesting and good. That's basically it. So yeah, that's my take on the Halloween films. Happy to be done, and until next time, I will talk to you later.